this is a video as a follow-up to the one I did on data validation on conditional formatting. We're using the same sheet that we used in that video with the students and their target grades and their mock grades that we'd entered using data validation so that we could make sure our data was consistent. And what I now want to do is to make things a little bit more visual. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this row here, and I want this row to color coordinate or color change based on the data in this cell in comparison to the data in these cells. So I'm going to come up here to format and conditional formatting, and you can see that we're looking at range C2 to C20, so this range down here. And I've got the option here with the conditional formatting for various different options. So if the cell is empty, it could turn a certain color, or if it doesn't contain a certain term, or is exactly a certain term, or is a particular date or a particular value. But I'm going to use custom formula down the bottom here. Okay, and what I want is for if this cell here, C2, is less than this cell here, B2, then I want the cells to turn orange. Okay, and you can see that that's immediately taken every cell in this column where this value is lower than the value in column B and turned it orange, which is great. But now I want to take an extra layer into that, so I can add another rule. And because I've added it straight in here, it's kept the same ranges in for me. But this time I want to change the formula. So instead of C2 is less than B2, I want to make it C2 is equal to B2. And I'm going to change the color and make it green. Okay, and we can see that any cell that's got the same value as the target grade is then shown as green. And I'm going to add a final rule, again using that custom formula, okay, where if C2 is greater than B2, then I'm going to turn it purple. Okay, and that's that particular row done. Okay, and then we can just hide that out of the way. So we can see here that everybody that is exceeding their target is shown as purple, apart from this one. And that's because it's not a numerical value. So what we could do is we could change that to 0. Now, if I change that to 0, because of the conditional, because of the data validation, it won't allow me to do that. But the data validation is looking at this range here. So if I change the range here, you'll notice immediately a little tiny dot pops up, or a corner mark that says this isn't accurate, and it immediately updates it. So now we've got every grade showing orange if it's below, green if it's level, and purple if it's above. But now I might want to do the same for this row. Okay, so what I can do is exactly the same thing again. I can look at this particular row here. I can call up what my conditional formatting rules were. And if you remember, it was if C2 is less than B2. So over here, all I'd need to do is exactly the same thing. So I can come here, I can add a rule, and instead of if C2, I'm just going to do if D2 is less than B2, color it orange. Add another rule. If it's equal to B2, we can have it green. Add another rule. And if it's greater than B2, then we're going to have it purple. Okay, so we enter those there. And at the moment, all of that is showing up as orange because there's no values in there. But as we start to import values, we will see that things change accordingly, and it gives us a much nicer visual representation of our data so we can see easily. And the beauty of this is as well now, what you can also do as a recent update to Sheets is you can now, as you can see, doesn't look like there's much of an option there, but you can take all of these, or you can take this row in fact, and you can filter and you can filter by color now. So I can filter to all of the purples, and it will pull all of the purples up for me. Or I can filter to all of the orange and the purples, or I can filter to all of the greens in that particular column. So it gives me the option to look at my data much more clearly if I need to have a look and be a little bit more strategic with what I'm doing with my particular classes. Okay, so I hope that's been useful.